Introduction to Modern Period.
Modern period in the English literature begins with the 20th century and remained till 1965. The period saw an abrupt break away from the old ways of interacting with the world.
There were many cultural shocks with the beginning of modernism. Low of the modern age were the World War I and II. These wars began in the year 1914 and last till 1919 and 1939 to 1945 respectively. Aftermath of the World Wars was traumatic for everyone. World War I was evident on the face of every citizen. Feeling of uncertainty was spread and no one knew where the world was heading into. Advancement of the social science and natural science in the later half of the 19th century and early decades of the 20th century. Gains in material wealth with the rapid development and industrialization. The difference between aristocrats and clergy increased more. English literature of the modern age started with the initiation of the 20th century. The prominent feature of the literature during the modern age was that it opposed the general attitude towards life as shown in Victorian literature. People started to regard Victorian age as a hypocritical age, having superficial and mean ideals. Hypocrisy of Victorian period generated a rebellious attitude in the writers of modern literature. Things that were considered as beautiful and honorable during Victorian age was considered as ugly by the writers of modern period. Sense of questioning was absent in the mind of the people from the Victorian age. During Victorian times, people adhered to the voice of the people who were in power. They accepted the rules made the church. People started to accept the law without questioning them. But the generation came after were having critical thinking. They raised questions against the decisions produced by supreme authorities. Writers of modern age refuted the ideas and beliefs of previous era. Modern age helped in replacing the simple belief of the Victorians into modern man's desire to probe.
Changes in the literature. There were various changes took place in the field of literature also during the modern period. The imaginative writing, verses, structure of the verses of Victorian period became obsolete. Writers' work started losing the magic they used to have in previous age. Victorian writers were becoming rancid and their works were failing to evoke the spirit of the readers. Art has to be renewed in order to revitalize the readers. But Victorian artworks were lacking the surprising elements and freshness in the content.
Declination of sentiments and values. Modern world people were more into independence. They don't want to bind by the parental authority. Whereas Victorians believed in maintaining the home life, they consider themselves a family person more. Moreover, the feeling of love was getting limited to sex in modern times. Love had become less of a romance and more like a greed. Such things portray the decline in the values, emotions and feelings in the people of modern period. Literary work also portray the similar lifestyle. If writers try to write on the themes of Victorian age, then it would be no longer a striking piece of literature. Therefore, you will find the literature of modern period having less zeal for love, natural beauty and the sentiments. Modern writers come up with fresh point of view suiting the conventional audience.
The trend of modernism emerged after the end of the First World War. They includes stream of consciousness, surrealism, Cubism, Dadaism, Futurism, Expressionism, Imagism, Symbolism. Modern English poetry. Modern English poetry is a sort of revolution against the traditional thoughts and types of the Victorian-era poetry. Modern English novels. They reign the literature in the initial 3 decades of the 20th century. These years are known as the golden period of modernist novel. The development of 20th century English drama. George Bernard Shaw and Oscar Wilde were the most known, praised and celebrated drama writers of the 19th century. They were highly popular in the last decade of the century. One can say that they marked the beginning of the modern drama.
First is modernism. Modernism is a quite unique and complex movement in almost all the creative areas. It began at the end of the 19th century. During this period literature got the inception of greatest renaissance of 20th century. When the First World War ended, a number of literary trends of the modern period such as Dadaism and stream of consciousness. The second basic characters of modernism. The foundation of modernism lies in the theory of psychoanalysis and irrational philosophy. One of the main characteristics of modern period is the dehumanization of art. Some other crucial themes of modernism involves alienated, ill and distorted relation between man and man, man and his own self, man and society, and most importantly between man and nature.
The pillars of modernism. 1. David Herbert Lawrence, 1885–1930, Sons and Lovers. 2. James Joyce, 1882–1941, Ulysses. 3. Thomas Stearns Eliot, 1888–1965, Murder in the Cathedral.
4. George Bernard Shaw, 1856–1950, Mrs. War and Profession. 5. William Butler Yeats, 1865–1939, The Land of Heart's Desire. 6. John Galloworthy, 1867–1933, The Man of Property. 7. These writers are considered one of the big players of modernist literature.